So if you're American, if you're Canadian,
Yeah.
most countries, you can have dual nationality, okay? Which dual nationality means you could be a citizen of multiple countries. This is going to be such a fun conversation because we're not going to try to get political.
But it's 100% political.
I'm just like,
Welcome to Create Before Consume. Now, here's your host, Fitz.
We hit record here, and welcome to Create Before Consume, a podcast from creators for creators. And today we're doing something special because, this is maybe about creating, but it's more about creating a new future or starting new things. So, introduce yourself. What do you do, and who are you?
hey, so thank you so much for having me here. My name is Joey Langenbrunner. I help expats, digital nomads, Americans, Canadians, Russians, Chinese, whoever, make sure they have a backup plan, move somewhere else. So basically get a second residency, a second citizenship, an insurance plan, whatever. Like, the world is so chaotic right now, and I want to make sure people feel safe and protected and have good opportunities.
Yeah, so that is the reason why I was like, hey, you gotta come on, because boy, oh boy, you cannot go onto the internet and every day there's something new going on, and it's not peace and quiet. It's like, okay, as a foreigner who lives in America but having dual citizenship, like being a legit American and everything, the water is changing. It's getting a little bit warmer. It's getting a little bit more, what's going on here? And there's lots of, so I'm not trying to be political today, but I want to talk all about okay, what do you need when you want to start over somewhere else? What are the steps that you can do right now? For example, if you want to, let's say, live the digital nomad life and let's be in Spain for a month or a year or whatever, all that we want to get into. So let me ask you this. Right now, how crazy is the situation for you? Because you're getting people passports, you're doing all that stuff, and I'm I can't assume it's busy right now?
Yeah, no, it's very, very busy. A lot of people are more or less reaching out because they're not sure what to do. So what I specialize in is basically understanding what people want, what people need, and what's realistic in the situation. You know, because some people are just scared, but they actually don't plan on moving to Spain or going to Mexico. They're just they just want to complain, right? you know, let's be realistic, again, don't want to get into politics, but people are always complaining. Okay. Yeah. So what I want to do first with clients or people in general is just educate them on what are their options and really what they can do. So at least they know what they can do. Yeah. Because some people have no idea, because crazy statistic, I think it's 70% or 77% of Americans don't even have their US passport. So meaning they've never left the country. They never even been to Canada, bro.
Yeah.
So they're scared.
That alone, so basically my passport was about to expire, and I'm okay, I gotta get myself my passport, because if it's expired, it may be annoying to get it, and I'm before it's getting expired. So I went through the steps, got my passport renewed, and it came in a week, and I was holy moly, they are fast.
That's fast.
Yeah.
Is this for your US passport?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm that. This is crazy fast, because usually it's a 1 to 3 weeks or maybe a month or more, and I'm what's going on? But because it didn't expire, that's my assumption, it went fast through. So I assume it's probably a bad thing to wait.
Yeah, no, and there's two different fees that you can pay. One is just the normal fee, and then there's a expedited fee.
Yeah, I think I paid for the expedited. But yeah, so talking about the whole okay, starting over and doing the digital nomad, or just being a content creator and traveling from A to B, it is a weird thing about, okay, now I have to restart in a new country, now I have to do this, and now I do have to do that. What is your experience with that? Because I see you posting and you're traveling quite often.
Yeah. So I used to be a digital nomad.
Yeah.
And I did it for 3 years, mostly in Europe, but I also went to Central and South America. I went to the Middle East a little bit as well. Haven't had a chance to go to Southeast Asia. I have been to Taiwan before. But when I was a digital nomad, I was essentially hopping cities every 1 to 3 months. And I basically told myself, I'm going to at least stay in a city for at least a month. Yeah. And in that month, I essentially created a few friends. I would go to like the same cafe, the same restaurant, the same bar, and I would essentially create a routine for me for like that month or two.
Yeah.
Because wherever you live in your life, you are going to have a routine. You're going to wake up, you're going to drink your coffee, you know, you're going to make yourself some eggs, you know, go walk to work, drive to work, depending on where you are, and you're going to set up this routine. So I always like to focus on what's going to be my routine in this country. So I got an adrenaline rush of just like hopping into Budapest, hopping into Belgrade. I lived in Lisbon for a while, going to Amsterdam, and just like setting up a routine for a month or two and seeing how you like it. So it's almost like speed dating these countries.
Speed dating those countries. Okay, which one was the worst and what did they do to you? If you have to rate them from like, you know, like, hey, this was the worst state and this is the best state. Give me my.
Well, I mean, it really depends on what you're looking for.
Okay.
You know, so like, for example, when I lived in Belgrade, Serbia for a few months, I loved it, but it wasn't European Union, you know, but it's still Europe.
Okay.
Right. So like,
what does that mean though? Like when it comes down to like the logistics and all that, like, okay, I'm now in Serbia or whatever, and I'm like, what does that mean now? What's the difference?
Yeah. So if you're in the European Union, so you are a citizen of the European Union, and it's basically like, you know, you have like 20 plus countries that are all part of this union, and you can travel in between them, and it's really easy, and it's just easy to go back and forth. But Serbia is basically right on the border of the European Union, and so it's still European, so you still get like the European way of life, but their infrastructure, their mindset is very different than, let's say, like the European Union, which is a little bit more Western leaning, and Serbia is a little bit more Eastern leaning, which that's a whole nother conversation. But it's very interesting to be in a society and in a culture, and we'll get into this a little bit more later, where it's kind of like a mix between East and West, but like you're still getting like that European lifestyle. So like that's what I loved about it. But the infrastructure was just night and day, just not nearly as good as like the US or you know, like the UK or something like that. But it's not nearly as bad as like, let's say, like the Congo or anything like that. By
well, that's an example.
right. It's still like a developing place. Like, you know, like you'll see some cracks in your sidewalks here, but you know, some places there, like the sidewalks don't exist. But then in some parts of town, like it's really nice. The old town area is nice. Then you go a little bit out and you see some of kind of like the old, like communist style buildings, and like that's so. Anyways, not to get too much in the weeds, but when you go to these countries, you're going to have these stories. You're going to have these, you know, different experiences, and it's like that's why like we all bring up these things, you know, and when I say we're talking about like people who travel and stuff like that, and it could be almost a traumatic experience, because when you leave your comfort zone, and let's say you go to Serbia, you go to the UK, might be a little less, but even if you go to Mexico, might be a little less, a little more in different ways. It's going to be weird. It's going to be really strange. You're going to be out of your comfort zone. And so how do you feel about that, right? Because like, you know, you need a big ego, and you need to have a lot of confidence. So I've been through that kind of in a way, you know, so I can completely relate, where it's like, okay, I was never into traveling, and here's a German boy meeting finally his American father, going to America, and I'm like, okay, just like getting gas at the gas station. Really weird, everything completely different, and I can see like for people who never travel, this is like crazy. So what are your tips for that? Like if you're like never traveled and you want to try this out, what's your mindset to that? Just do it. Yeah, I mean, every time you travel, even if it's like, hey, I'm going to go to Spain for 2 weeks, that's going to be a crazy experience for you. Even if it's just 1 week, you realize how long a week actually is and how precious time is. So when you're there for a whole week and then you come back home, it's like, okay, you're doing like a culture shock going to Spain. And then you come back and it's like reverse culture shock, right? Like, oh, I have to go back to the gas station. You know, while in Spain, like I just walked around, it was nice, I got some exercise, the food's healthier, the sun is shining more, you know, depending on, you know, where you are from the US. And so it's like something we just kind of have to do, you know, like sometimes I tell people like, hey, just go to Canada. Start small. Like, you know, and then like they'll go to Toronto or Vancouver, and they're like, oh, this isn't too bad. Everyone's still speaking English. Everyone's nice and polite. Oh, wow, the streets might be a little bit cleaner, and some parts of Canada might be a little bit more colder, but it's not too much of a of a culture shock. And then then I'm like, okay, well, next go to Ireland, go to the UK. Like, okay, they're still speaking language I'm familiar with, but I'm walking around more. The food tastes a little bit different. The weather, is a little bit different. Like their accents are a little stranger.
Or extreme.
So if you want to do baby steps like that, then yeah, go for it. Then after that, maybe go to like Amsterdam, where people still speak English, but people are gonna start speaking Dutch, where it sounds kind of familiar, but it's not. Yeah. But it's a different language, So sometimes you need to take those baby steps, like for some people.
Talking about baby steps in the current situation, I feel like when the climate changed, there was a lot of people like, I'm going to Canada, I'm starting over, and you heard a lot about that, and I was like, do you really though, And it's like, now we have like current thing like just happened today. Apparently, like the US ID, that's like a giant thing for like getting your IDs and whatever. Yep. They're shredding all the papers. What is like? Why would you shred those papers? And it's basically
like, what papers are these?
That is so. Apparently somebody quit and they are going to the news and they're like basically like, okay, they're shredding all those papers. And it's like, that is like news that you get, and where I was like, okay, so if I need my documents from US ID, they might be shredded. So there's a lot of like news like that going on, where it's like, oh, we're building now this thing and we're pushing out certain people, and then US military getting detained by ICE, yada yada, and then back and forth. Like the news are very, very dark, and so I feel like for some people it's like, okay, it's maybe one step too far, and they are like, okay, I actually want to move, even though they're legit. But they see like a climate change where it's like people are like, no, you need to be US born, for example, versus like, no, you're a citizen, So there's a weird climate going on. And for those people, if you start over, what are the things to start over where you're like, okay, you need passport?
Okay. So let me walk back a little bit.
Okay.
Until you explaining like the mindset of people.
When some people.
Because, right.
Because so some people are like more scared, and some people are not scared, because like there's a spectrum, and depending on the political spectrum, you may be there and you may be there, and that determines like the steps you're taking.
This is going to be such a fun conversation because we're not going to try to get political.
But it's 100% political.
I'm just like there's landmines everywhere where, like the listeners are going to be like, this person is this. This. But anyways, but like we can't hide from the fact that like this is a political thing.
Yeah.
And go back from like the mindset of someone like thinking about this, like, oh, should I leave? I would say our situation is very much like a frog in boiling water.
Yeah.
Okay. I love to use analogies, so just bear with me here. Let me just explain this for some people who don't know this analogy. If you put a frog in, just throw a frog into like boiling water, they're gonna get, they're gonna get out right away.
Yeah.
But if you put them in cold water and slowly heat it up over time, they're gonna get used to it and used to it and used to it, and before they know it, they're cooked.
Yeah.
So if you're smart, you'll realize that the water is boiling. Okay.
Yeah, maybe it's like it's somewhere there. Yeah. So I'm completely with you, but the one thing where I'm like, some people, they're saying like, no, it's not boiling at all, and I'm like, I will be fine. So they will not even acknowledge the thing. So it's like,
so here's my situation.
Yeah.
And maybe some people will like relate to this. But I grew up here in the U.S. I'm U.S. born. I'm from the Midwest. I lived overseas for 3 years, okay? I loved it. My quality of life was great. There's tons of benefits, okay? Yeah. I moved back to the U.S., and one of the biggest reasons was that I wanted to spread the good news. How weird that sounds. I wanted to kind of tell my fellow Americans that, hey, life over here, and I was living in Portugal, most. Life over here, it's not perfect, but these are the qualities, or like these are the benefits that I really enjoyed. Like you brought up, hey, I have to go to a gas station and fill up a car.
Yeah.
Man, I didn't have a car for 3 years.
That's a crazy
How much
concept.
did I save on auto insurance?
Yeah.
like, okay, price that in. Okay, gas, price that in. How much the car costs? Because like, I have so many friends that are like buying like these like huge like SUVs or trucks or cyber trucks for like just
Crazy
so much
money.
money. And I'm just like, dude, I can buy like a house on the beach in like southern Portugal.
Yeah, with that payment alone, like
With that, like, are you crazy? And like for me, like I don't get it. Some people are car people and they love it, and good for them. I'm not saying like that's
it's right or wrong. It's whatever.
like that's not my value.
Yeah.
It's some people's other value, but I'm just like, man, if you're spending $60,000 on that, I'm like, I could spend $60,000 on like a penthouse overlooking like the Mediterranean Sea.
Yeah, I mean, the Cybertruck is 120 or 90, depending on where you get it. I'm like, damn.
You can buy a home for that.
Yes.
You know, like people send these articles all the time about like those like €1 homes like in Italy.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm just like, dude, you can buy like a €1 home in Italy. Like sometimes I think it's like mostly like in the south, beautiful area, food's great, warm weather. The stipulation there is that you do actually have to put a certain amount of money in it.
Yeah.
Right, to like remodel and stuff like that, and that might take a few years.
Yeah.
But like still like that's gonna be like the cost of a Cybertruck, and now you get like some cool quaint home in some Italian village.
Yeah. That is like a crazy concept because like traveling from A to B is for most people kind of a problem because like not everybody has a lot of money, you know, so some of them don't even travel at all, you know, and then there's like some people who are travel for fun and obviously they have the money to do so, but how do you sustain yourself? Let's say you went to Europe for 3 years. What do you need to sustain yourself and what is like needed to make that happen?
Yeah, so I have a client, a good childhood friend of mine, and him and his wife, they're struggling, okay? Yeah. And they were thinking about moving to Germany, actually, because the cost, you know, of stuff in Germany is slightly less than the U.S.
Yeah.
You don't need a car in many cases. Public transportation is great, and stuff like that. There's problems with Germany, of course.
Every country has them.
Every country has problems. Don't want to get too political. I'm sure you will have much to say on this topic.
Not
but,
really,
but for them and their research and their situation, moving to Germany was better. Mostly because of healthcare, because they had a child who just has a lot of health issues. And I flat out told him, I was like, if you were in the European Union, healthcare for your child would be way cheaper than the US. Like, would you not agree?
Safer in schools and yada yada yada.
Yeah. Like you don't see any school shootings. Try not to get too political here. Maybe that was too political. Anyways, so for them that was a good option, but like they're scraping by, they're living paycheck to paycheck, and so I had to bring them the numbers. I'm like, how much are you paying in car insurance? How much is your car payment? How much are you paying in healthcare right now? And this and this and this and this and this, and I'm just like, oh, that's where all your money's going to, and you would be able to cancel that out by moving here.
Yeah, that is like also like a weird thing because like let's say if you're in the middle class of America, I don't even know what that is like money wise. I think it's like somewhere in the like I would say like realistically in the 30 to 70K, somewhere in between there. I think it's the middle class. You know, there's maybe more on this side than that side. Some say it's 100K, but it's really depending on where you are on the spectrum. But that type of money makes you rich in another country. You're like top 1%, you know?
Oh, that's a whole nother conversation. I mean, like, I've helped people move to Colombia, for example. Okay. And you can get just, like, you can buy beautiful homes for just like a fraction of the price of what you'll get here.
Yeah.
You know, the food's cheaper. Sometimes people like the culture better.
Yeah.
You know? And so if you're scraping by here and you can move to a country where just like the dollar goes longer, like you are getting a better quality of life.
Yeah.
What does that mean for you and your family? So like, I get it. The thought of uprooting your whole life and moving to a whole new country is going to be a culture shock, right?
Yeah.
But how much are you saving? Right? And how and you count that up over the years, that's going to be a fortune. Okay. And then you got to think about your children as well, and because like, think about this. So many people came to the US for a better life, and like, even like my mom was a refugee.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm like thinking to myself, I'm just like, man, like if she was a refugee, like what if I leave the US because of other issues? Like it won't be as bad as like her situation. But like, does that make me like, not like a refugee because of wars or whatever, but like almost like an economic refugee, Because like, if I can get better job opportunities in, let's say, like Dubai than here,
yeah,
and it's safer in Dubai than here, rental prices are cheaper in Dubai. I mean, like they put up skyscrapers like left and right, like it's cheaper.
What is crazy to think about? Dubai cheaper than America?
Well,
for some aspects,
at least for real estate.
Yeah.
But like there, like you do need a car.
Yeah.
They do have a strong car culture with like their Lambos and stuff like that, just like the US. So you'll still have to
gotta have a Lambo. If you don't have a Lambo, I mean it ain't it.
So it's like, okay, well, but the cool thing about there is like they'll deliver the gas to you.
Huh.
It's like they're a little bit more advanced than us too. And this is a whole nother conversation. Other countries are actually getting more advanced than the US.
What do you mean with that? Like in what aspects?
So, like let's say like smart cities, AI technology, using blockchain or whatever, or just cleaner streets, better infrastructure. The culture is a little bit more together in some sense. But like there's some countries, it's like, let's say like the Gulf states, especially, or let's say in some places in Asia where like these countries are more advanced. Like you go to South Korea, like it's more advanced than the US. Like it is what it is.
Yeah, when people
go to
don't
Japan,
see it, there was like a crazy streamer or whatever who went to China, and people are seeing now for the first time what China is actually like. Like they have what?
Actually, lately I've been watching a bunch of videos of all these travel vloggers because China recently opened the doors for more, tourism. Yeah. And so more footage is coming out of China, and it's just, I'm like seeing like these like cool like cyberpunk cities. Yeah. And I'm like looking up like, like where the city's located, and it's like right in the middle of China, like it just like looks like in the middle of nowhere, but like this gigantic city that like makes New York look like a third world country.
Yeah. And
like,
it's crazy.
Dude. How long does it take for a mindset of people to like realize that their country is like slowly like here, let me put it this way.
We also should like clarify, we're not like anti-US.
No, not at all.
It's just like different things with different benefits. Just to make clear.
Right. Try not to get too political here.
Yeah.
I lost my train of thought a little bit here.
About like China being like, for example, more advanced in certain aspects.
Yeah. But on the flip side, I mean, you can't use WhatsApp. You can't use Facebook.
There's a little bit of freedom of speech, kind of like.
You better watch what you say.
Yeah.
So like, okay, they're more advanced, like you want to get your food delivered to you on a drone right to your home. Okay, great. China's a place for you. We don't have that technology here, but we do have a little bit more freedom of speech. Okay. Yeah. Is that decaying though? That's another question. Well, but in China, like you really don't.
Yeah.
So it's complex.
It is a complex thing.
Because like you're thinking about like, where does your heart want to be? Where does your logic want to be? And also like, where do you feel comfortable?
Yeah.
Are you going to be the frog in the boiling water getting cooked? Like, is that comfortable? That's a personal question.
So in that regard, there are like two options that you could see. It's like, okay, you're the frog, you jump out of the pot and you jump into a different pot. It's a great thing, It's like, might
so
be
there's no hope.
No, I mean, it might be, but you also can just jump back if the one pot is like getting colder, the other one is warmer, you can kind of hop. So how do you hop around and make sure like your decisions are not like, let's say you apply for a passport in like Italy for a European passport, now you're losing your American, for example. How do you prevent stuff like that? What is the mindset? How you do?
Yeah, okay. So let's talk about more things in realistic terms. Is basically what you're asking. So if you're American, if you're Canadian, most countries, you can have dual nationality, okay? Which dual nationality means you could be a citizen of multiple countries, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever. Like collect them like Pokemon if you want.
Got the trainers here.
I'll be more than happy to help you there. Some countries don't allow that, but like that's very rare. Most countries do. So, for example, Germany had very strict nationality laws for a long time, and it was only like the past few years where Germany actually made it a lot easier. Where like, if you want to get American citizenship, if you want to get like this, doing it through family is a little bit easier. But if you're naturalizing, then it's a little bit more difficult. So recently, Germany opened it up, and like that's kind of like the trend we'll see, where more countries are basically, let's say, like liberalizing, how many citizenships you can have, and I want to clarify: if you are a citizen of a country, then that's how you get the passport. Okay. I get this question all the time, man. Like, what's the difference between a passport and a citizen? If you're a citizen, then one of the benefits of being a citizen of a country is that you get the passport for the country. So the citizenship comes first, and then you get the passport.
So can you have a citizenship with like not living there? That's obviously for you an easy answer, but for some people it's like, okay, I have to live there and be there to get like the citizenship and then get the passport. How does that work?
Yeah, so there's many different ways. So you can buy a citizenship through citizenship by investment. Those are like in the 6 figures, so it's not the most popular choice. You can get a citizenship through your heritage. So like if you're German, Polish, Italian, Irish, Mexican, Colombian, Filipino, whatever. Okay. Another option is that you could invest into a country. Again, this is probably going to be more in the 6 figures, and then you can eventually get it. And then, of course, another option is through naturalization. And what this is basically, for our American and Canadian listeners, when immigrants come into the U.S. or Canada, they live here for a certain amount of years, and then they naturalize and they earn that citizenship, and then they get the Canadian or U.S. passport. So you can do the same. So, like for example, if I wanted to get citizenship in Germany, I can live in Germany, okay, learn the culture, learn the language, live there for a few years, pay taxes,
all the good stuff.
Try not to get too political here. And then I could earn German citizenship and then therefore qualify for the passport. Okay, so there's many different options. Obviously, that's the cheapest, but you pay with your time rather than your money.
I like that. So with that in mind, like obviously taxes you mentioned, and as a German, and I'm like having already the dual citizenship, so I'm very fortunate in a way in that aspect. I also learned like, okay, taxes in America are not based where you live. They are just like, okay, what are you, American citizen? You pay American taxes no matter where you are. Correct. What is like a weird thing. So how do you navigate that situation? And you got any like tips, tricks for people?
Yeah, so American taxation is a very unique thing.
Yeah.
Because most countries don't do this. Okay. For example, if I'm a British citizen and I'm living in Germany, I don't pay British taxes. I don't pay taxes to the UK.
Yeah.
Okay. I pay taxes to Germany because that's where my residency is.
Yeah.
Which is now where my tax residency is, which is a little different, and we can get into that soon here. But American, if me as an American, I'm living in Germany.
Yeah.
Okay. I have to pay German taxes, right? Makes sense.
Yeah, makes sense.
But as an American citizen, I still have to pay U.S. taxes. But most countries have essentially tax treaties, which means you won't get taxed twice. Meaning, like, if I earn $1, I'm going to pay tax to Germany.
Yeah.
And then I will file a return in the U.S. And again, this is not tax or legal advice. And then essentially, if I would pay more money to the U.S. if I was living in the U.S., I would pay the difference, if that makes sense. So it's like...
Yeah, so it's a complicated thing, case by case.
It's kind of complicated. So like here, let me give you a better example. Let's say I was living in Dubai, okay? Dubai has 0% income tax, okay? But me as an American, I still have to file in the U.S. Now, there's some exemptions if you're out of the U.S. for a long period of time. You can book a call with me to learn more about that because we don't have enough time to get into that.
Yeah.
But like theoretically, I would pay taxes to the U.S. even though I'm not living there, and then 0% to like Dubai. Yeah. Is that fair? I don't know, but That's just how Americans get treated. If you're Canadian, you don't have to do that. But with that being said, let's say you are Canadian and you want to live in Dubai or Germany, you have to cut all ties with Canada. So make sure like...
Say that again. What?
Right. This is kind of complicated here. If you leave Canada, for example, you need to get rid of your bank account. Okay. You need to get rid of your gym membership. Okay. You need to get rid of, any rental properties you have, anything. Don't even have a girlfriend there. Or a boyfriend. Okay. Or else Canada might try to claim you as a tax resident. Okay. So when you leave these countries, they're going to ask like, hey, is your center of life here in Canada or not? And so if you're being a digital nomad and you're not necessarily like a tax resident or like a resident of any other country, then Canada's going to come like, well, if you're not paying taxes to anyone else and you still have your surfboard here, your girlfriend's still here, your gym membership's still here, you still have a car here.
Yeah. What you doing?
You sound like a Canadian tax resident, and then they're going to tax you.
Yeah.
Again, this is not tax or legal advice.
Yeah.
So you need to be very, very careful when also you moved countries. Now, Americans actually don't have this problem because we're always a tax resident of the U.S., right? But for a Canadian,
I don't know if that's a benefit.
but if you're a Canadian, for any Canadian listeners out there, like you really have to cut ties. You really have to get rid of everything.
Does that mean then like you're losing citizenship?
No, you don't.
Okay.
No, you can still.
So it's a separate
you're still
thing.
be Canadian, unless you renounce it. But it's something I would not recommend you doing.
I mean, like with that being said, like okay, now we got like the tax situation somewhat understood as much as you can because it's like it's a complicated topic. But okay, so we decided now hypothetically, I got now the dual citizenship and I'm going to move to Spain, for example. You know, what is the next step? Like, how do you get like okay, can you just move there? What is like the things you recommend people have in order to go there and do like let's say. I don't know. Maybe I'm staying for a month. Maybe I'm staying for 6 months. Maybe a year. So what are the things that you recommend for each time period or just in general?
Yeah. So as an American or Canadian, okay, if you go to Spain, you'll be entering Spain on a tourist visa. Okay. All right. So with that tourist visa, you can basically stay in Spain for about 3 months. Okay. If you want to stay longer, you need a residency visa. You need a residency permit, okay? So if you want to get a residency visa, then that means you need to collect your documents. Documents would be like a police record, showing proof of income, documents like this to basically prove that you are you and I have enough money to live in Spain, and I am not a felon, and I'm not wanted by Interpol. Okay.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to be moving to another country, just like when people move to like the U.S. or Canada, we're going to make sure of these things.
Yeah.
Again, don't want to get too political.
Want to have the good guys in, not the bad guys.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Same thing. And and you don't want to bring in a bunch of like homeless people. Don't want to be too political here.
Yeah. But I mean, like that is like also like a problem because like. For some people, it's like, okay, I want to start over, and is it really that simple? Because, like, you could go, you maybe can't afford, like, 1 or 2 months, but then you have to start working. How easy you feel like is that journey? Well, because, like, I feel like, let's say you start in Europe, you maybe got a skill, and it maybe transfers, but you're not that good in the language. What happens if you don't get the work, if you don't get, and there's so many hypotheticals, and I'm like, it's a scary move. I feel like, what are the tips to relieve that, the problems with that?
So how do I pay my bills and not be homeless when I move overseas?
Basically.
Beautiful question. So the obvious thing is that if you have a remote job and your company allows you to work everywhere, which some companies don't, especially like in the financial world, like if you're working for a bank, they're like, oh no, you could only stay here because like they have like sensitive data. But theoretically, like let's say like you're doing marketing for some random company out of Nebraska, and you get paid $80,000 a year, which is more than enough to live a good life in Spain. You prove that you can work remote, and you come to Spain. Easy peasy. That's the most straightforward option.
Yeah, so basically recommend like have a job in order and
Yeah, if you
that
have a
makes it
remote
easier.
job, then that makes things a lot easier. If you do not have a remote job, it does make things a little bit more difficult. Now, with that being said, you're not out of luck. There's two other options. Okay. The one option is that you show you have enough money to live there.
Okay.
So like in Spain, they have a certain visa. It's almost like a retirement visa, but you prove that you have like 30,000 euro, and then like that's more than enough to live here.
Yeah.
Which is with the exchange rate now, maybe like $35,000. Maybe a little bit more just because the US dollars have gone down a little bit, but that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, I experienced that one. That was fun in Germany. I'm like, what's going on? The dollar's how much worth? I'm like, what?
And this is something that you have to experience because like you're earning dollars and you're spending euros.
Yeah.
Okay, what's the
a
difference?
Fun thing.
But anyways, so now again, I lost my train of thought. But long story short, so if you have a remote job, you're good. If you have enough money to live off there, some countries will be like, yeah, you have enough money to live here for a whole year, and you got a whole year to figure it out.
Yeah.
Great. Other options, especially this is a certain visa that Germany has, is that they'll actually let you come to Germany and look for a job.
I mean, that is quite
Which
neat.
is interesting.
Yeah, because like that is like one of the things where it's like, okay, you have the luxury of like figuring things out, and like that's like the biggest thing where I'm like, okay, if you start over, some people are like, I have not figured it out, and I feel like I want to move just to feel safe, like let's say you're going from America to Mexico, and you're just like, okay, I don't want to be in alligator Alcatraz, for example, and like getting forced to deport it, but like going somewhere and having the ability to figure it out on your terms makes it a little bit easier, I feel like. And I don't know how complicated that can be in an aspect.
I mean, again, you find someone that makes it less complicated.
Hire professionals.
I mean, but really, it's one of those things where like it is a very personal matter.
Yeah.
Like you gave the great example before about like a frog just jumping to another pot, right? And like for me, I've jumped a pot before several times. And I'm still here in the U.S. and I'm here in the U.S. for certain reasons. Most in the fact that like, hey, there's pots over here that are cooler.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you can hop back and forth. You
can hop back and forth, which is great. So like, even if you're not sure, how much would you regret it if you never do anything? You know, like, what if you just moved to Spain for a year?
It sounds fun.
Just feel it out. Feel it out. Feel it out. Like, okay, hey, this is great, but for reasons X, Y, and Z, I actually want to move back to Flint, Michigan.
Yeah. I was like, God damn, that sounds depressing right there.
Kidding. Or, go back to LA or Miami or whatever.
I miss the water in Flint.
Trying not to get too political here. I'm from the Midwest, so it's okay.
Yeah.
Actually not from Michigan, but anyways.
From
close to Michigan, and we would talk crap.
Yeah.
Anyways. Fun stuff. But, you could always try it out. So, like, it's one of those things where, like, don't regret it. Okay? Life, I don't want to say life is short, because, like, that's kind of like a...
Life is short. People don't know how short it is. Like,
well,
yeah.
Don't cap yourself there. But like, how much would you regret it if you don't try?
Yeah.
And you think about it, like, if it's like their parents, that whatever came to the U.S. for a better life.
Yeah.
Okay. What's so like? This isn't like a strange idea. This whole country was built on immigrants. On a dream. So like, us as humans, like, it's very natural for us.
Yeah.
To like want to dream, right? So go dream.
Yeah.
Go move to Spain for a year. Go enjoy like the tapas and
that actually sounds like too good. God damn.
Like it's so funny. Every time I go to like a Spanish tapas place here in the US, it's like each plate is like the size of like a meal, and then I go over there and it's like €1 too, and I'm like, I know I'm kind of being ripped off.
Yeah.
But like, but also I'm just like, hey, I'm in the US. and this is like a special thing, and people are willing to pay $17 for a small plate that's only like less than $5 in Spain, and that's just the price you pay because you're in the US. But like here, anytime I go to a Spanish tapas place, I literally feel like I'm being cheated.
Yeah.
I'm just like, man, if I was back in Spain, like the food would be slightly better quality.
Yeah.
You know, and it would be like way cheaper. So what's that cost difference? True. You know, and how much does that add up over a year? So like theoretically, if you move to Spain for a year, how much money are you saving?
Yeah, and that is like a point where it's like, okay, we have that hypothetical story in our head where it's like, okay, the country goes in this direction and you might be right or wrong, and in some aspects that can be like, okay, the dollar's getting weaker and weaker and weaker, the euro's getting stronger and stronger and stronger. So if I jump pots, for example, it's like, oh, now in this pot, I'm making better money, everything, like it's not hurting me as much as staying in the other pot. And when the pots are changing, let's jump back, and then there's obviously like Bitcoin, for example, too. And it's like, okay, you have all those pots and all those situations, and I'm feeling right now like this is like where I'm like, the U.S. is like kind of like a little bit in a weird situation where it's like, it's not really nice to be an immigrant, even though you're a citizen. So it's like, eyes will look at you like, what's going on there?
It's a funny accent.
You're speaking kind of funny there, and I'm like, no, I got papers. And it's like, oh, should I jump ship and just wait till everything like settles in and you know what the direction and the thing is?
Yeah, but what if you create a better life somewhere else?
Exactly. So it's like, should you jump? Should you not jump? And I'm feeling like right now, like you're getting pushed into a situation where you should jump because, like, yeah, we got the school shenanigans. We got the money is not that good right now. Everybody's struggling, and it's weird, import, export, all the above. And I'm like, boy, oh boy, there's literally little benefit to being here besides like the people are great. There is a lot of opportunity because of the people, but that's kind of about it, and that's kind of how I see it, And like, if I would start over in a different country, I do not know anybody there. That would be a problem. The money might be even better there because like I have to spend less, make more, and it just holds the value better. And I get healthcare. Sounds like kind of like a no-brainer, but the momentum and the entrepreneurial spirit, I feel like is kind of missing. So how do you find that in a different country, and what are your thoughts on that? That was a lot.
Yeah. No, this is a great question. So everyone has unique needs.
Yeah.
Okay. So you brought up a lot of things.
Yeah. Money, entrepreneurship, community, all the above.
Yeah. So like, if you were my client per se, and you were telling me what your values are, I would recommend certain places. So like, for example, like if you wanted to go to a place where you can network a lot and be around a bunch of entrepreneurs, I mean, the US is one of the best places to do that.
Yeah.
Germany is not.
Yeah,
you know this.
They work for the weekend. It's like, okay, let's get some beers, guys. It's Friday.
I was in Spain about 2 months ago, and I remember walking around at like 11 a.m. And just the streets were full with people like smoking cigarettes and drinking beer and coffee. And I'm like, do these people work?
What's going on here?
And I'm like thinking to myself, I'm just like, this is why they're all poor. And then also being kind of jealous. Yeah. It was like me at 11 a.m. Like we're working.
Yeah.
Working. I showed up here at 11 a.m. to, so content to get leads so I can pay my bills, right?
Yeah.
And have content for you, or, like whatever. Like we work for a living while like
they live for a living. I'm like, what the hell? What's the concept? It doesn't make any sense.
But I think being, at least for us, because we're both entrepreneurs, our our value is building things. We want to create beautiful things and stuff like that. So it's like, the U.S. is a great place for that. It's one of the best places for that. It's one of the biggest retail markets in the world. Yeah, that's great.
That's actually what I love about the U.S. It's literally the only thing.
It's great. Like I don't want to sit here and bash the U.S. Here, because like there are some great things about the U.S. and there are reasons why I moved from Europe back to here. But with that being said, in other places, networking is starting to get better.
Yeah,
there's more money moving to those areas. So I study migration patterns. Okay, where are people moving to? Okay, I'm also researching where's money flowing.
Yeah.
So right now, the most money in the world, like if we're looking at like where money is actually flowing,
Yeah.
it's flowing to Abu Dhabi.
Okay.
Okay.
Interesting
And
spot to
Dubai,
be.
right? So like these two places, but especially Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
A lot of, let's say like family offices are setting up there. So if you want to go after like ultra high net worth clients, Abu Dhabi is going to be the place to go.
I feel like that is though also like, to be realistic, very secluded. You know, you got your skyscraper, now you're there, and everybody's separated in there. Skyscraper, penthouse, whatever, you know. Or you're like there.
So that's obviously not for you. But
Yeah,
for
yeah.
some people, like for me, I've almost moved to the UAE several times because in the UAE, it's people there have obscene amounts of money. People are immigrating constantly. It's kind of like a huge bus stop in some way. You know, like you have like people from the West and people from the East all going through there. It's a great place to make money. You know, their currency is very strong there. It's extremely safe. I mean, you can just leave. Actually, like there's videos of this. I'm sure you've seen videos where people like would leave like the keys to like their Lamborghini out there for 3 days, and then they come back and their keys are still there or their wallet or whatever. It's like extremely safe.
Yeah.
Now they do have crazy laws where like if like I don't know what they are, but like if you steal something there, then
the hand is gone. Stuff like that.
I don't know what the exact law is, but it's probably not going to be a good time for you. So there, it kind of like forces you to not steal and not litter and things like that. Is that going to be an okay environment for you? Also, like you can't really like hold hands with your wife or girlfriend there too.
Yeah, that's the only thing where I'm like.
So again, it depends on what your values are.
Yeah.
You know, like if you just want a laid back life, okay, and you like Latin America, you like a little bit more chaos, you like it cheap, you like tacos, you like some good weather, then like Mexico, Colombia is going to be good for you.
Yeah.
If you want more of like a Latin American, European style place with beautiful mountains, then Argentina might be a good option for you. Let's say you want to live in a place like the US, but not the US. Okay, maybe Australia might be a good option for you. You know? So people want different things.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people go to like Bangkok, Thailand. A lot of people go to like Malaysia, which is extremely developed and English is like pretty easy. Japan is all over my Instagram feed right now.
Well, Japan, it sounds like a dream that is too good. You know, it's like, boy, oh boy, they got everything like figured out. They're like so dialed, and I'm just like, I
Dude,
feel like
toilets.
a peasant here, where it's
their
like
toilets are like way more advanced than any toilets we have. Like, you go to some places in Europe, and like they have the what's it called? Like the squirt thing.
Yeah,
like
a bidet. Yeah,
you know? And like we don't have it here.
Have a bidet. We got the pinky up, my man.
Well, I mean, you know, yeah. I mean, like European, and I'm like thinking like here in the U.S., I'm like, that's a very sophisticated. Like Europeans have this. Why don't we have this? And then you go to Japan, and it's like
Such
it has like Bluetooth, like warmers and stuff like that. So anyway, sorry for like the visuals here, but like some places have more advanced stuff going on. But with that being said, what I'll say about Japan is like they have a crazy work culture where like people like are like kind of like work to death and like they get drunk and
do the thing again.
And they do the thing. You know, it's very different than like doing the drink.
And
you know, like in Germany.
Yeah.
You know, like you do it for fun while like they're doing there because like, hey, if you want to do business with someone, like you're singing karaoke and you're getting drunk, right?
Yeah. Or just trying to keep it together because you're working crazy hours, stuff like that.
Right. So one thing you got to realize is that you coming in as a tourist, there's a honeymoon phase.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this place is really nice. I like being in Italy.
Yeah.
The pasta's great. I can eat all the bread I want and not get fat, you know, like, you know, which we all hear all the time. But, you know, like you live there after 6 months, you know, you start seeing through the cracks, right?
Yeah.
I hear this situation all the time where I'll be living abroad and people will be like, oh, help me get to the U.S. And I'm just like, why do you want to come to the U.S.? Because like they have like this visual, like this dream of it. And it's just like a frog going from one boiling pot to another boiling pot. So it's not going to be, you know, like it's not going to be the best thing ever. It's not going to be the worst thing, but it just depends on what your values are. You know, it's like, this is why like when I talk to clients, like I'm really trying to understand what their value is. Like, you know, are they like, again, maybe like the best place for them to go is Russia for whatever reason.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know,
I mean, like that right now. That's the only thing where I'm like, okay, Europe sounds really, really great. Besides, like, oh, wait a second, they're beefing with Russia, and Russia got a couple nukes, and you might get drafted. And I'm like, obviously, I don't think, it's like you cannot really predict the mess we're in. So it's like you might be right or might be wrong.
Here, let me speak on that. So you can't predict. That's why it's good to have options.
Yeah.
Right. So, like, let me give you a very practical example, like for Americans and Canadians. Okay.
Yeah.
If you get a residency permit in Mexico. Okay. It's very cheap to get, very easy to qualify. Okay. And you get the residency permit, right? And you actually don't have to live there. You just have it as a backup option. It's just a cheap insurance play. Okay.
Yeah.
So sometimes, like, you can just go to sleep night, like more soundly or whatever. If you just have that backup plan there, I'm like, okay, cool. I have a backup plan.
Yeah.
If I need to pack my things up in a car and go to Mexico, I will be accepted because, at the border, because I have the residency permit. Great.
Yeah.
Hopefully that won't ever happen, but there is a very practical, easy plan B
for them. Yeah.
Yeah, which is it's
good to have options.
Exactly, it's good to have options. Like you have a European passport and American passport. So like
that makes sense.
I mean, that's that's good. And then like if you're in my industry, I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, oh, you have two Western passports. You need like a some sort of like Eastern aligned or like a BRICS passport. And like that gets like into a whole other thing where like, how can I get a Brazilian passport? Right. Fun fact. If you want a Brazilian passport, it's actually really easy to get.
So first off, why you want a Brazilian passport? Besides, like obviously the fact of having options, but like give me like the pitch for Brazil. What type of person you have to be as an American, for example, to go to Brazil and like let's move there, let's do this thing, or just have it,
So Brazil is a very interesting place. They speak Portuguese there.
Yeah,
Brazilian is not a language. So it was, obviously conquered by the Portuguese. So they have a little different culture than, let's say, like the Spanish-speaking countries.
Yeah.
Which is quite, people hear about Rio and stuff like that. The northern part of Brazil is much different than the southern part of Brazil. And then you got the whole, like, Amazon rainforest. So most people probably stick to kind of like the coastal areas in Brazil.
Yeah.
And, like we've all seen, like, the beautiful beaches of Rio and stuff like that. Healthcare there is really cheap. Food there is great. Weather is warm there all year around. It can be dangerous in some places, but obviously it can be dangerous in south side of Chicago, right?
This is Florida here. You got to be careful.
Right. We got some crazy alligators. So when you're asking like what type of person, I mean the type of person is going to come in all forms of shapes and sizes, really.
True.
Like some people will come to me like, I want to come to Brazil. Why? I want to go to Brazil. Why?
Yeah.
Okay. Like they have a personal reason, or they saw some picture, or it's some like nostalgic memory. I mean, like this is kind of like a complex thing. Like hopefully I'm answering your question, but
it is not simple.
Yeah. It's not simple. It's like that's why it's good to kind of like talk that out with someone, right?
Yeah.
But anyways, fun fact: how you get a Brazilian passport? Here's here's the alpha. If you go down there and you get a Brazilian woman pregnant, okay.
Well, I have a wife, just so you know.
Well, for anyone out there, you get them pregnant. And you live in Brazil for 1 year and you get the Brazilian passport. So just in case.
I got to do it for the passport.
Not for you.
I'm just joking.
Like you're taken. But, or other way around. Like you're a woman and you really need to.
So it works the other way around too. Huh.
Yeah. Like they're not sexist down there.
Huh. This is very, very interesting.
Just in case. It only takes a year. So just.
What is the cheapest citizenship to get? Like, let's say I have $50 in my bank, and not a high roller. What should I get? What can I get with that money? And what would be an option? Just like money wise, not like inherent.
That could get you an Uber to the airport. That's about it. Which is a great first step. Like here's another thing. So like in my industry, like we fascinate about having like so many residencies and passports.
Yeah.
Like we nerd out about it.
Okay.
And like we'll nerd out so much that like we realize that At the end of the day, you need to make sure you have enough money.
It's like air. It's kind of nice to have.
Like, because if you're in your home country and like you really don't have enough money to live,
Yeah.
you got bigger problems.
That's very true.
Okay, I get it. You know, like some immigrants are, you know, coming to the U.S. and they're coming here illegally and they got nothing but the like clothes in their bag.
Yeah.
That kind of lifestyle is illegal, and also like I wouldn't recommend that.
Yeah.
Not to get too political here, but I don't recommend, like, that's dangerous, and that's a tough life. So
I saw those digital nomads, you know, going to Thailand, having no money, and they're just begging in Thailand for money so that they can, like, okay, I'm traveling nomad, you know, and it's like,
you were homeless in your home country, now you're homeless here.
Yeah,
good job.
It's like getting there is one thing, but making a life, building something is another.
Yeah, and you know, like, it'll probably be easier for you to make money in your home country just because it's more familiar. You probably have family, friends to kind of help and support. So moving to another country with just the clothes on your back, that's tough.
Yeah,
I don't recommend it.
It's like a video game. You're just like upping the level, you know, and like you're like a little bit extra difficulty. Let's go.
Yeah.
You get an accent.
Yeah.
You get a citizenship, but here you go. Like, and that is like one of the things where it's like people do not know where. It's kind of clarified, you know, like going to a different country, working there, doing the thing, you know. Obviously, it's a thing that you do. But it's like, just to get started in a city. So this is my experience, you know. We moved like a couple times. If you're for 1 year in a city, barely anybody knows you. You're 2 years in a city, you maybe have some people in your network, you somewhat make it, you know, but 3, 4, 5, now things are happening, you're being known and people recognize you, and it's like, even if you want to speed run that, and I tried to do that in Cincinnati, like lived in Cincinnati for 2 years, I'm like, okay, I go to all the networking things, I'm gonna do all the things, and still nothing happened. I'm like, boy, but like being in St. Pete for like, I think like it's like nearly 6 years, somewhere around there. I'm like, oh, I know people, I know, you know, and it's like, it's easier to be in an environment for a long time than a short time to be successful or make money or whatever.
Yeah, and again, that depends on like your personality and like what tools you use, because like for some reason,
what
so,
are the
like,
tools to make it easier?
Yeah. Like I get this question all the time, like, oh yeah, like I'm, you know, like I just moved to
Honduras.
Like I just moved. Actually, I was just there a month ago. You like, hey, just moved to like Honduras. I'm here in this city. How do I meet people? Let's give you some practical things. Meetup.com, Eventbrite, Facebook groups.
Yeah.
Like, dude, like put in the work. You know, like I'm gonna go to Eventbrite and I'm gonna look up like events here in Honduras in the city.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a there's a karaoke night this Thursday night.
Yeah.
I don't really like karaoke. I'm not gonna go, dude. Well, like this is learn to like karaoke. Or you're gonna be like alone, right?
Yeah.
So you have to really put yourself out there, and like that's what I would do, because like when I would like speed date like these like cities, like back in the day for me, I would go onto you know like these websites, and like I would go to like all these events. Like some of the events were like yoga or like some weird stuff, you know, whatever. And it's just, I'm just trying to meet people. Like, who cares about what the, you know, like what song they're singing at the karaoke? And I don't, you know, whatever. I'm still gonna go to the event because I want to meet people.
Yeah.
You know, and then I'll meet like the husband or the wife there, and the husband was only dragged by the wife, and so like, you know, I made a friend because like we're both complaining how bad the karaoke singers are, and boom, you have something in common, and then he invites you out, you know, like 3 days later, you know, and he'll introduce you to a few of his friends.
Yeah.
You know, like
works like that. You have to put in the work.
And this is a real story for me. I was like, I don't really want to go. I don't really want to go to karaoke, but like I got nothing else to do tonight, and I don't like being alone, right? Because you're in a new city, like a new city, and like you really feel alone.
Yeah.
You know. So you have to really push yourself out there.
Yeah, no, I like that. So basically, like, sign up with all the things and do all the things. So that's step one. So what else you recommend, like, when you're in a new city? Like, besides, like, having the routine? Like, do all the events, have the routine. Is there anything else you would recommend people to do, like, to make it easier?
Be a tourist.
Be a tourist. Okay.
Yeah, go to the museum.
Oh, okay.
Go do that hike. Go see those spots, because if you're living in a city for long enough, you never do those things.
I like that, because like sometimes people or the locals, they are like, tourists, you know? And sometimes the tourists know more about your city than you actually do, because like they actually want to enjoy it and want to see it, and you're just living your 9 to 5, wrapping subs at Jimmy John's or whatever. I don't know.
I have not seen Jimmy John's in a long time.
I don't know why it came to my mind, but
I haven't seen Jimmy John's in a long time. I don't even know if they're still in business.
still better than like Subway or whatever it is.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's the little things. Maybe I'm hungry. That might be it. And the sub sounds great.
Well, we can grab lunch if you want.
Well, we could do that. I love that. Okay, so we got like get your citizenship, figure out work, obviously as a prime recommendation. Then we got the routine. What are maybe like locations you don't recommend? What are the what you should not do? What is the worst thing you can do?
The worst thing you can do is not do anything.
Oh, so give me an example, like staying here in the U.S. and not doing anything, or like being
or like
there
whatever. Just the worst thing you can do is sit on your couch, look at your phone, and listen to all the news and feel depressed.
Yeah, true.
That's the worst thing to do. Like I mean, because like think about it. Yeah. If you take that Uber to the airport, go visit another country, most Americans don't even do that step. So if you can just do that's a great step. Like, dude, like that's awesome. Like you got out of your comfort zone, you flew across the pond, aka Atlantic Ocean, you arrived in Spain or Greece or Tunisia if you want to get a little bit more crazy. And just act like a tourist.
I like that.
You got out of your comfort zone.
I like that. In regards to money, what would you recommend to have? Let's say as an American going to Europe, like are there like, let's say, Bitcoin solutions or money transfer things, like I don't know, like wiring. What's like a money in general? How you deal with that while traveling for a longer time?
So make sure you have a credit card that has free currency conversion.
Okay. Credit, baby.
yeah, exactly. It was like people would ask me like, oh, like, do I have to get cash? And I was like, dude, people use credit cards.
Yeah.
And actually, Europe is even more advanced like with their credit cards, because they have that little mobile tap.
Yeah.
Where like you just use your Google or like Apple Pay with your phone.
Yeah.
And I got so used to that in Europe. And so when I came here, I was traveling around without my credit card. I was just had my phone. And then people are like, oh yeah, we don't have that, like the tap to pay. And I'm like, why is this country so backwards?
Yeah.
I was like, this is reverse culture shock, where like I had to like put my wallet back into. And I was like, I have to carry around my keys, which actually in Europe I didn't have keys outside like my apartment keys and my phone, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's all I needed. I didn't need my wallet. I didn't need like my huge car keys, like the smart keys, like take up so much room in your pocket. Sorry, that was like one annoying like culture shock thing for me. I'm just like, this is Anyways, so yeah,
I like that. No, it is helpful, because like it is a complicated and weird thing, because like I kind of was like toying with the idea of going back to Germany. I'm like, oh, how better or interesting.
Oh, so that's why you brought me on. Okay.
Kind of a little bit, but I'm like also like I'm not sure about it, because like I do not like going in one pot, and I'm like acclimated to it, and it's great. I like it, it's a good pot to be in. But I cannot predict if they're still cranking it or if they're not cranking it. And before they're cranking it and I'm getting boiled, I'm like, it might be better to go over there and enjoy the benefits and then maybe step back.
Don't get cooked, right?
Yeah, don't get cooked.
If you learn from anything from this, do something and don't get cooked. Okay, this might be obvious to you.
Yeah.
It may not be obvious to you. Like you may know, but you may not.
Yeah.
Actually realize you can do this, and the listeners might not know. If you're a citizen of Germany, there's other countries in Europe that you can live in, right?
Yeah.
So
what is a crazy concept?
I know,
for me.
I know, crazy concept. Like
Europe is big.
I mean, not compared to the U.S.
Yeah. But the culture, it's big. Like,
yeah. You just drive a few hours and like you speak a different language.
Yeah.
And here it's like, okay, Walmart, strip mall,
that is like
strip mall.
Like,
it's so boring.
It's like, okay, the U.S. sounds big on paper, but it's like in culture, it's like, okay, Hawaii is a little bit different. Then there's like certain places, and I'm like, like nature is different, but
yeah, of course, like New Yorkers are going to be much different than people from like L.A.
Yeah, there's some
different from Texas, but I mean like
Italy, German, for example. It's like, what?
Yeah, it's like very different. It's like it's just a few hour drive.
Yeah,
you know. But anyways, like I'll push back and say, you know, the European Union has a lot of countries that you can live in. Yeah. Okay. And some of these countries have lower tax rates, right? And better business opportunities, right? Some countries have less taxes. Some countries have more taxes. Some have different tax carve-outs for different things. Fun fact, like now the UK, because of Brexit, is not part of Schengen, or like not part of the European Union. But if you're like a poker player and you gamble, there are
might gonna go there.
There's certain tax credits for that where you don't pay so much in taxes.
Yeah,
weird, right? So different countries have different things, or like you were talking about, I'm like Bitcoin for a second. Germany has great laws when it comes to.
I don't even know any laws about that actually, and I'm like,
I know more about some of your tax laws than you do, and you're German.
Yes. That's the weirdest part. Like I was like, okay, I need to Americanize 100%. I don't want to hear anything German. I don't want to speak anything German. I'm like, whatever. I have no idea about the politics there right there. And the only thing I know is like,
I follow the politics in Germany all the time. Anyways, when it comes to like taxes in Bitcoin, from last I read, again, this is not tax or legal advice. Actually, this is just all fun.
All hypotheticals here.
Yeah.
But
give me a call. So basically, if you hold that crypto for more than a year, you actually don't pay capital gains.
I like it.
Well, in the U.S., there's like short and long-term capital gains, right?
You gotta hold for a bit.
Right. So it's like if you hold your crypto for more than a year, you don't pay tax after that.
And he'll hold it for 3 years and they take it away from you in California.
Right. Yeah, you saw that. I'm like, that's crazy. Who would live in California? Beautiful place, but like their politics. So different things have different things. So like if you wanted, it's like if like you're more of the entrepreneur spirit. Yeah. You want those European benefits. Where can you go in the EU that still likes entrepreneurs?
Okay, give me actually like a country in Europe that would be like, okay, what is the bee's knees for like entrepreneurship?
Yeah.
And then give me also like the for living standards or whatever, so that the listeners here.
So if you're looking for an easy option, I would say Ireland is a decent option. It's not the best, but it's an easy option. And I'll tell you why. A lot of US-based tech companies headquarters are in Dublin. So like Facebook and Google, they get headquarters there.
That's crazy.
For tax reasons, if that tells you anything. Also, like there's a lot of high-paying tech jobs there. So like that's one option if you're looking for Western Europe. And that's
this is baffling my mind, to be quite honest. Like, why would you be in Ireland? Like, it's obviously a pretty country, but Ireland.
It's expensive there. It's like it's not cheap. It's like the same price as the US. But the weather is not good.
Right. Yeah.
But like good quality life. They speak English there, and they like for entrepreneurs, like it's not a bad place to be. It's the best place to be as an entrepreneur in Western Europe. The rest of Western Europe is cooked. I'm gonna be flat out honest. Like, don't be an entrepreneur in Germany or France or.
It's just kind of how I felt, and that's like kind of depressing because I'm like, but where would I move? And I'm like Frankfurt, and I'm like
but like there's other places. So like for example, my biggest spot in Europe, I think for entrepreneurs right now that I'm like eyeing like crazy right now is Cyprus.
Cyprus, okay.
Yeah, it's like. It's technically in the Middle East, but it's also like Greek speaking, and they speak English there. It used to be like a former English colony. And
how many languages do you speak?
I speak American.
You speak American. I mean, like, I guess now with AI, it's an easier problem to solve, but it's like that
yeah, I
would
mean,
be
you
one
could ask
thing.
AI on this, and also like, what kind of entrepreneurs do you want to, attract? So like, I think Cyprus is a good place for entrepreneurs. Like, especially if you're a creator, I think that's a great place for tax rate, lifestyle. They have beaches, they have mountains to ski. Like if you wanted to get to London or Europe really fast, it's easy. If you wanted to get to Dubai, it's easy. So it's a good middle ground place. For entrepreneurs, Portugal and Spain are okay. Let me see. Eastern Europe is decent too. Like Estonia is fantastic. My buddy was in Estonia last year, and he told me Estonia was so crazy advanced. Where like he was at a restaurant and they had a robot like bring him his food.
Yeah,
and I'm like, this used to be like a communist country.
Yeah.
So Estonia is a good place.
Yeah.
And then he told me that he then went to Latvia and said like it was just night and day difference. Between like the people's mindset, the infrastructure and stuff like that. So Estonia is a great place. A little cold, but if you don't mind that.
It's an interesting thing because like you can dream and you can build stuff, and it's like, oh, I could be doing this and I could be doing that, and it's like
right, but like also like think about it, like if you do work remote, you are a creator, you have your own business, you can do that anywhere.
Yeah, theoretically, like if you're smart, you can. Like, there's no problem.
Like if you like properly structure things in a right way, like you can theoretically be anywhere. Like it's remote. So like, if you wanted to stay in like cold Canada because you actually really like that, and you're, like you can make it work. I see the pain in your face, and
I'm like, yeah, Canada's a little cold.
And I'm not showing it, but it's not a place I would want to be either.
Yeah.
But you got to understand, like, people's needs are unique.
Yeah.
People have different experiences that shape, who they are today, and so like they want different things. So if you do work remote, I mean, you can work anywhere. Like tons of people go to Bali. I can't like. I don't even dream about going to Bali. I'm just like, this place doesn't seem like the place for me. It's like, but
it sounds great because you get cheap vacations in Bali and stuff like that.
Everything's cheap. People are on their motorbikes. They like the nature. Like they like the yoga lifestyle.
It would be kind of retirement, but not really, I guess.
But it's but it's a bunch of young people. A lot of creators, a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of people in the tech world. Like they all live there. I'm like, dude, you can live like a king for $2,000 or less there.
Yeah.
So like if you're building a business and you're going to be around a bunch of creators and entrepreneurs, and you don't have a lot of money and you want to bootstrap your operation, Bali might be a good place for you.
Yeah.
Just because of just like the concentration of the kind of people there.
No.
Because sometimes it's not all about the taxes. Sometimes it's not all about the food, the culture. Well, a little bit about the culture, but it's about the people that you can find. This is like, go back. This is a great thing about some parts of the U.S., not all.
Yeah.
Sorry, Omaha, Nebraska, whatever. I do have a good friend there, but just for culture there, like I don't think that'd be the best for me. Hey, people from Omaha, Nebraska, I can prove you wrong. I actually do have a great entrepreneur friend there, and he's very successful. Sorry for pointing that out. Shots fired. but like I don't think about that as like an entrepreneur hotspot. You know, like, but Miami, dude,
it is crazy.
How much higher can your career go depending on what you do if you're in Miami compared to Omaha, Nebraska?
And that is like one of the biggest thing, like the one, it was like a Ty Lopez like quote or whatever. The biggest difference in how successful a person is not the habits, it's the environment. And I'm like, it kind of makes a lot of sense because like, dude, if you meet the right people, you can be anything. Or
dude, yeah.
And I'm just like, so you have to be very picky where you're going. And I'm like, I never thought about that, Ohio, like
it's really about the people.
Yeah.
Like we're here in Florida, and sure, like there's great tax benefits. The weather is great, and the people are a little bit happier than people in Omaha, Nebraska, I think.
Yeah.
Just because of the weather. And so if I'm interacting with people, like that's a value add I have.
Yeah.
Right. But if I was in Miami, if we were both in Miami, like business would be better.
Yeah, business would be better, but the cost is also like more. But it might pay for itself, and that's like the thing that most people don't get.
Rent's going down currently in Florida, so if you're looking for places over there, prices are actually not nearly as bad as you think.
Yeah.
But if you're going to uproot and go there, and
Yeah.
you're going to move to Miami, you know what you're going to be doing?
Networking, doing all the
You'll
work.
be going on to meetup.com, Eventbrite, Facebook groups.
I'm gonna make it happen.
You know, like, hey, where do all the podcasters hang out with? Where are all the creatives? And like, I want to hang out with those people and network. You know, like, where do they go? Like, okay, hi, my name is this. My name is this. I do this. And you're going to be like doing all that again. Is that worth it? Yes or no?
That's a good question. Yeah. I've thought about it. I've been to Miami in May, and I'm like, oh, this was nice. One of my clients bought a whole penthouse, and I'm like, whoa, this is a lifestyle. And we stayed there for 3-4 days, and I'm like, holy moly, what is the rent here? And it's like, okay, you got to make at least like 10 bands to be like comfortable in Miami. I feel like that's what I'm like. And I'm like, oh, we could be doing that, but I'm like, then you're just living like insane Pete. Like, it's like, oh, you know, it's like you poor then in Miami if you make that amount of money. So it's like,
Yeah, but also you got to realize that if you live in a place like Miami where you're like, you need 10 bands a month to live, dude, that's going to really push you.
Yeah.
And also like the kind of people that you be meeting, maybe it's easier to get to 10 bands, right? And actually, like, I heard the story from a friend of mine, like, he's moving, to Hong Kong because 10 bands a month there is pocket change.
And that's the thing. It's a crazy concept.
So it's like, dude, like, level up, man.
Level up, man. You heard it here first.
You know, and that might be different. You know, some people do just want to go to Spain and they're cool making 4 or 5 bands from their remote marketing job, and that's their value add, and they want to chill and relax and raise a family there, and like, that's perfectly okay. But you really want to level up, dude, go to Singapore.
No, Singapore. Okay.
Yeah, go to Singapore.
Yeah, I hear great things about it, saw great things. And I'm like, for example, in Germany, like, if you make like 3K in Germany, you're like a police officer or a lawyer or whatever. Like 3-4K is a lot of money there. And he is like, oh, you can't afford rent. Great job.
I'm glad you're not on the streets, right?
Yeah.
So
rent is like 2K, cost like 600.
2K, Jesus, cheap.
Well, you don't want to know how much we pay for this house. It's actually like super cheap. We're paying $800. We bought before COVID, but our insurance is $1,500. That makes no fucking sense.
Yeah, insurance in Florida is crazy, but hey, you don't pay state tax, so that's where you pay.
Yeah, there's always.
Would you rather pay it to an insurance company or the state? Now, yeah.
Well, the insurance doesn't want to pay when something happens anyway, so you got to fight them. So it's like, it's always like, everything is complicated. Nothing is really easy. No, you need experts.
But, well, I was gonna say, like, you want people who like nerd out about this to like kind of educate you on this, because like we all have our stuff. Like, if I had questions about podcasting, like, actually, I did go to school for audio and video.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah,
I didn't.
Yeah. Funny. And I couldn't find a way to make money out of it, and you did. So I guess you really don't need a college education for that. For sure, you don't. That's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, find someone who's educated about this stuff, who nerds out about the stuff, or maybe like they studied about it. Because like, I'm not gonna go to you and ask you like, hey, is this cavity bad or not? You know, like that's not like that's not your expertise. I don't have any cavities. I checked. I'm good.
Yeah. Let me check.
I don't trust you. You want to go to experts. You want to talk to people who know this stuff, and they're going to make it simple for you.
Yeah. And I feel like you said there, a thing like passion is really important about the thing, because like there are some people who are just like, they're kind of doing it for the money, you know, and then there's people who are like, no, I'm actually living the lifestyle. I'm going places. I'm doing this. And you're traveling. You're doing actually the thing that you're talking about. So it's not like you're just
I lived overseas.
Yeah.
So I know how it feels. Like, there's a human element to it, you know, like just again, like going back to like, oh, I feel lonely because I moved to a new place. Dude, go to meetup.com.
Yeah.
like that
Tinder. Travel hack right now. Don't even have to pay rent if you're really good. It's a joke.
Is it? Yeah, or like Bumble has like the what is it? Yeah, like buddies thing or friends thing where you can find friends. I don't know. Like,
that's kind of sus.
that's weird to me. Like I'm not looking for friends on.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. This is like one of those things where it's like, yeah, you can only make it worse, I guess. But it's an option for the singles out there.
Yeah. Go down to Colombia. Anyways.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. But with that being said, like, where can people find you?
So I'd say probably the best place is contacting me on my Instagram. It's probably just the easiest right now. So
what's your name?
So my Instagram handle is Joey Youssef. So that's JoeyYusef.
Okay. Like I will put it in the description as well, but for the audio guys on Spotify. Yeah. So, and how can you help people? Like, what are the things where you help with? Like, what are actually your services that you provide? Like, so that they know, like, oh, he does exactly this and that. And
yeah. So basically, I can help people set offshore structures. Companies. Like foundations, trusts, bank accounts, driver's license, offshore. Also, mostly what we're talking about this in this show is helping people get like residency permits. So like, almost like the equivalent of like a green card.
Right?
Yeah. Like basically the same thing, but like the green card
The
equivalent.
European version or whatever.
Right. And also helping people get like their second citizenship, if that's through they're paying for it through their heritage.
Yeah.
Anything offshore.
I like that. The one thing we didn't really talk about is like actually like how you set up the whole trust shenanigans, because that's like one of those you see in TikTok stories. You gotta have a trust, an LLC, S corp, then you pay this one, and then it goes to there, and it's like, is it actually like a strategy that you recommend, or are there like stuff like that where it's like, okay, it makes sense, or is it too complicated for this right now?
It's definitely too complicated for this right now, and it's definitely very unique.
Yeah.
But it's good to have the proper entities for legal protection and access. And I'll give you a little fun thing. Sometimes you can just set up a company in a country and get a residency permit that way. Okay. So it's like, okay, well, I want an offshore company for X and Y reasons because it makes sense. And, I can get a residency permit as a backup plan through the option. Cool.
Oh, dude. Okay. Yeah, why not?
Why not? Yeah.
Is there one citizenship that everybody should have as a default? Like, besides like the own?
The American passport.
American passport.
If you want to get taxed worldwide. Again, I mean, like that's a complex thing.
Yeah.
Like different people want different things.
Gotcha.
What like someone from China is gonna want something much different than someone's from Argentina, right?
Yeah.
So it's not a one size fits all thing. I wish it was that. It would make my life way easier.
Yeah.
But this is a very complex topic, and again, people like I really focus on people's values and what their goals are, because
it makes a lot of sense.
I really need to understand that before I give any recommendation.
Yeah. For me, it's like, oh yeah, well, what is like the top one, or top 10 passports? And
my favorite passport is the Irish passport for sure. Like that's one passport I do want to get.
Okay. I like it. So with this being said, like this is very, very interesting right now, and I'm just like, I do not know about the climber and the pots, but I'm like debating what I should be doing, because like it's getting warm, and I'm like, I might jump pots, I might not, and I might just stay because I love the US, and the US is great.
Even if you're gonna stay, just have a plan B. So if you need to jump out, then like.
I need to renew my German passport. That's the
That's
one
probably
thing.
the first step. Yeah, I can't help you out with that. Sorry.
Yeah, that's fine. I just need to do it. I'm just like, I let it expire, and I'm like, oh goddamn it! Now I'm in for a treat. At least I have my American. What's the little things, But yeah. So check him out and like hire him for the passport shenanigans.
Passport shenanigans.
Well, I should say like get your citizenships through him. He knows what's up. Yeah. Oh, any things that you have on your mind that you would like to discuss? I can splice it in.
Just thank you for letting me talk about what I nerd about every day.
So how many passports do you have?
2.
Okay. So you don't have like the whole Pokemon. Oh yeah, I got here 15 citizenships and stuff like that.
I got some friends who have a crazy amount of passports, and I mean, if you want to collect them all, I can help you collect them all. It's not going to be cheap though.
No, I believe it.
And it's not like it's going to fix all your problems or whatever.
Yeah, that's the one thing. Like, so my wife Rachel, she's like, I want to move to Germany. I want to do this and I want to do that. And I'm like,
so she's the one.
She's the one, but I'm like, nah.
Well, she is the one.
She is the one, but I'm like, nah, Germany is boring. Everybody's like working for the weekend. It's the land of the middle class, you know. It's like, and there's America, land of the extreme shitty and extreme good. As long as you have money, and as long as you have money, man, shit's great, you know. So it's like, oh, you hit your head. What happened to her was her worst nightmare, going through a severe accident and being in America, and that was her thing to wanting to go to Germany.
I hear this all the time. The healthcare is the biggest reason why people go to the EU. Yeah. The biggest reason, if anything.
And if you're under 30 or under 40, somewhere there, you don't really need healthcare if you're lucky, you know? So it's like people push it away, and I'm like, oh, now you're getting to the age where everybody gets shit. Like, it's like after 30, 40, it's like, oh, no, the back hurts, huh? Or no, this hurts, or, you know? So you get all those problems, and healthcare becomes kind of more important, you know, or raising kids and all that stuff. And it's like,
Yeah, that's expensive. Yeah. That's so expensive. And I mean, like, you know, like we can talk about big pharma too, and how they always try to keep you sick. Sorry, this is not like a Joe Rogan podcast,
but we couldn't make it, but we might not.
And if you buy this supplement, this supplement, this supplement, and this supplement, it'll cure what.
That goes into entrepreneurship so badly. I love it.
But dude, like that's another thing. It's like here in the US, like they like any solutions or like any problems you have. Like you have more problems and there's more solutions. Meanwhile, like I feel like I go to Europe and I'm like, because like, dude, like I take like 15 different supplements here, and when I go to Europe, like I don't feel like I have to take any.
Yeah,
dude, how much am I spending on like vitamin D, vitamin A, K2, ashwagandha? Like why do we need all this stuff and we all buy it?
And the craziest thing is like there's no regulations for certain supplements. So for as an entrepreneur, like, oh, this is great. I can come up with my own supplement and I just shred the table, throw it in there, and call it like creatine, for example, would be legal. There's no requirement that there has to be any creatine in there, whatever, because it's a supplement. So obviously people, when they figure out there's like wood in there and that's it, they're upset. So obviously you want to be a good entrepreneur, but it's like, it's so easy to be an entrepreneur in the US because of loose regulations. But in Germany, oh, you don't have a license for that. Oh, you don't have a kitchen for this. Oh, you didn't went for school for 3.5 years for this. Oh, you didn't do that. You cannot do it. It's like,
again, what's your values?
Yeah,
what do you value more? Do you value a place that has less regulations, or do you value a place that has more regulations? Not to get too political, but like that's something that's very personal to you.
Yeah, and it is an interesting thing. Like, yeah, in Europe you don't need much, and there is not much, but here you need much, and there's not. It is complicated.
Make your money in the U.S., and once you make your money in the U.S., go overseas.
Yeah, it seems about right. Seems about right.
Go make your $1 million in the U.S. and then
time to bounce,
and then go to Spain or Mexico and and live like a king there. And
I actually was like thinking about making a creatine package, you know, like because there's no regulations, and like one of my clients, he has like, oh yeah, I make $40K every month from like a supplement on Amazon. I'm like, what? $40K passive, not doing anything. And I was like, oh yeah, it's just selling. And it's like, obviously he's a doctor and whatever, so it sounds better when a doctor makes it than me. What makes sense, but hey, there's marketing.
Yeah, like, is this a cavity or not?
It's kind of it's crazy what's doable technically and how realities are different.
Again, we are humans, and there's a human element to everything we do in this life, and I guess AI is gonna handle everything soon.
Yeah. Maybe not a good reason to be in Europe because universal income and all that. He is like, oh,
yeah, UBI. Actually, I was talking to some friends about this. I was like, we better use AI right now to make as much money as possible these 5 years, or we're gonna be stuck on UBI.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's the thing.
which like I didn't even think that was gonna be the case a year ago. But just like seeing all the crazy stuff that AI is doing, because like this is totally AI right now. We're totally not real.
Yeah, no, it's so
totally real.
there's an aspect to it where I'm like, okay, you saying 5 years? I'm like, next year or the year after? That's how I see it, because like the guy with the penthouse, I saw shit that's automated where you're like, what? So there's a lot that can be replaced right now where I'm like, oh.
Yeah, I can just have AI generate this whole podcast for us.
Yeah, it'll just cost a couple credits.
Learn everything about you. Learn everything about me.
Yeah, and you can automate it. And it's like,
automate it. So what do we need to do this? Like I've been on a beach in Spain.
Yeah. Oh, but we're real people doing real things, so we're legit.
But we want to build things because that's how we get meaning in life. And so if AI, anyways,
we don't want to get too dark or too political.
This is when like Joe Rogan's like smoking. Talking about like this.
Aliens, Epstein, all that.
Epstein, oh. Anyways.
Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, okay. Thank you. This might make the cut, it might not make the cut. Yeah. Oh.
If you pay certain credits, you can get the, special.
Yeah, the special deluxe edition.
If you're a huge fan.
Yeah. God damn. But yeah, that was around an hour and 30. Thank you so much.
Of course, absolutely.
But yeah. Oh. Boy, oh boy, oh boy.